What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, and I'm gonna smash, dash, and slide on through that little bit of energy, man. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, and do all those things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notification, man. So we're gonna talk about 1996, man, the year I caught my first case for a drive-by shooting. Okay, so a lot of stuff was going on at that time. So I could tell some of these stories, life stories. And I could tell the story 10 times. There'll always be something in addition that I could add, man, because there's so much shit that was going on, man. So in 1996, I just came from the county jail. I went from juvenile hall to the county jail for running for the Boys Ranch. I was in the Boys Ranch for about 17 months, juvenile hall. And, you know, I made a lot of homeboys during that time period. Got in a lot of fights and earned my respect, you know what I mean? I wasn't like the most hardest hitter, but I wasn't no punk. I mean, people recognized who I was and where I was from. And, you know, I started meeting homeboys from different hoods out there in San Jose, as well as when I went to school out in San Jose, because I went to every school, man, got kicked out of almost every one of them. Foundry, San Jose Community, Overfelt, Independence, Milpitas High, Airpoint, went to all those schools, right? So I went to the ranch, like I said before, you know what I'm saying? Went in there for assault with a deadly weapon, a knife, right? Went in there, ran from the Boys Ranch, came back, ended up catching an assault with a deadly weapon in juvenile hall. When some stuff kicked off with a homeboy Payaso from Mountain View. And this is when I talk about the incident with the Sureño from San Fernando Valley. At that time, there was barely ever any Sureños that were from down south in Northern California. So it was like a trophy back then for us. You know what I'm saying? Because we used to look at the ones that were, you know, in San Jose, Milpitas, Mountain View, all those areas as plasticos back then. I mean, that's what we used to say. Now they're homegrown. They're born and raised out there. They're more, they bang Sanjo now, but back then it was a little bit different, man. You know, so I caught that case, and luckily my probation officer was a lady named Karen Marks. And she was like she ended up being a gang probation later on. I think Sean Rooney was also the one that was gang probation. And then they still elected to send me back to the Boys Ranch, which I was lucky because it kicked off, man. And I'm the only one that jumped. When it kicked off in there with that Sureño, some cats from SSP jumped up, and then I jumped up. So it was basically me and homeboy against them, while there were some homeboys from other hoods. Like I said before, they didn't bust a grape. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I'm not going to talk shit. Shorty, Clayton Clark was there. Fucking the homeboy from the park was there. And other hoods, man. And nobody busted a grape. Same thing happened when I was over there in the Boys Ranch, when I was with Shorte from Palmas and Payaso from Justin Gabanya from VSJ. Now Shorte had my back though. I will give him that. Little Gene. When I chunked him with Chemo, and I got him up with Dreamer and all these other cats. So, you know, I had a real reputation for not like, there was no Sureños in the ranch, and then out of nowhere there became like 5 or 6 of them there. And they had no Sureños there for like about 2 years. And within the first month, I'm the one that got in the first 2 fights with the Sureños was me. And I'd already got fucking released and came back on a pre-release failure. You know what I'm saying? Ended up running with Rocky from Capitol Park. And I ended up getting picked up at the Great Mall. The gang task force and shit, man. That's around this time, that's when they started pushing the red Nike Cortezes, man. Go to the county jail. Again, a couple fights when I get in there, man. Ended up in M2A. And that's when I met like Magic from fucking VSJ before he had flipped. And the homeboy Indio was there from ESF who knew my homeboys. A whole bunch of homeboys and shit. Chino from Redwood City was there. And, you know, I started learning about the functions. Now, in 96, I caught a case. Me and the homeboy Wino from Body Horseshoe, Dennis Ortiz, and the homeboy Joey. Joey moved back to LA and he became a Sureño again. He used to rock with us, man. We had 2 homeboys from the neighborhood that one of them came from LA originally, and him and his brother or his brother-in-law were from Florencia, and then another cat, Beto and his brother Mando, they're from 18th Street. Beto has Norteño, Milpa. He moved back to LA with his family and he became a Sureño from 18th Street. But and Beto was like my little partner and shit, right? He was a youngster and shit. So at this time, we're out there in the streets, and me and Wino and Joey catch a case. We beat up some dude. in front of my house and shit. We jump them and we all go to jail. And at that time, it was wild, man. You know what I'm saying? My car got shot up right there in Century Apartments. They set us up. There was a program where they were moving families from down Southern California to get away from the gang lifestyle into these apartments called Indian Hills. We went from having no Sudanos or the ones that were out there were fucking plasticals to us to having real ones that came from down south. And we were having shootouts. You know what I'm saying? They shot at me a couple times. I shot a couple of them. And pretty much my reputation on the streets was that, you know, hey, I'm going to shoot. You know what I'm saying? And we never had really, like, we had a couple shootouts. Like one time the homeboy shot at the homeboys from Avisa one time at right in front of the homeboy Boo Boo's house because they were dropping off some hyenas that used to live next door. And, you know, my other homeboy got blasted by a Crip back in like 92 because they got smashed on when they walked through our neighborhood. And these were some Crips from San Jose. And, you know, most of the stuff that was going on was mainly with hands. You know what I'm saying? We got along with a lot of homeboys from San Jose, and then we had fucked with certain homeboys from San Jose. And at that time, it was every hood for itself out there in the streets, man. And see, generation, there's hoods that were deep out at the time, like Horseshoe and Bonmas are really deep generational, right? Throughout their generations. But each generation, it's not like down south to where they have like fucking 500, 1,000 heads in one generation in subsets. In San Jose, your hoods are going to be anywhere from like fucking 15 to maybe 50, 60 deep per generation. So that it's an open fucking, it's open game out there in the streets. If you have a hood that's about 30 to 40 deep out there in the streets, you can handle your business out there. You know what I'm saying? None of these hoods had like fucking like 300, 400 per generation or nothing like that. No, it was never like that. It had more smaller sets in between, you know? And so with our mindset back then was, you know, just like the homeboys from ESG and all those other hoods, they felt like they could compete with any hood from San Jose as well. Every hood was like that if you had the numbers. And we had some pretty deep numbers at that time. And so, you know, we'd be going out to San Jose a lot, going through Gramercy. Fucking, I remember I used to have the homeboy Wino roll around in my trunk, right? From Horseshoe. And I used to tell him, man, because you're from San Jose, you have to ride in the trunk. Because I'd have my fucking Regal fucking packed. We used to creep in through neighborhoods and shit. And I'd play the part and I'd hit the brakes a certain way and homeboy jump out the fucking car with a ski mask and a fucking golf club and shit. And we were just getting into it with all kinds of cats. Fights, you know what I'm saying? You know, trying to run motherfuckers over, all kinds of stuff like that was going on, man. You know, and then my car got shot up. So we were also fucking with some homeboys out there. You know, Vado Machingon was one of them. You know, and it's that's been was a battle that lasted for maybe about from like 92 to maybe like, I think the drive-by shooting pretty much ended it after we did the drive-by on them. But they had like, they were fucking, they were rocking around with fucking cats from like fucking ESN and L&Ls and all these K&R and all these other small hoods that were claiming they were from San Jose, but they lived in Milpitas their whole life. And that was our main issue sometimes, you know what I mean? And see, the dudes that started Machingon, you know, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying, was someone I knew since like junior high. And we used to kick back. Me, him, my homeboy Romero, homeboy Roberto. And this is before he started Machingon. And he was from the west side, though. He banged the west side as far back as in. But a lot of people don't realize that VMC technically started out there in Milpitas and that a lot of those dudes from VMC were going to become VMLs at one time. They used to go through the hood kicking when they were youngsters and shit. Then they started VMC, and that's where all the little conflicts started to occur. You know what I'm saying? You know, one of them pulled a knife on the homeboy. The homeboy said, "I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes. You better put that knife away." And then dude came out all hard. Homeboy Mondo slapped one of the dudes, and you know they were younger than the homeboys from my hood, and so me getting into that naturally put me in a conflict with these guys. And see, at that time, you know, they grew into their own later on. That hood grew into their own. But at that time, you know, my homeboys were older. They were, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more, rocking a little bit more harder, you know what I'm saying? And that would always put me in a cross with them, you know what I'm saying? So one of them had, at one time, we had jumped, right? And this dude had fucked me up in high school. And so we caught him slipping. The homeboy started fighting one-on-one. It was a good fucking fight too, man. Homeboy Rascal fought this dude, right? When homeboy kind of slipped and fell, homeboy tried to kick him from behind the head. Homeboy Victor just fucking threw dude across the fucking the street. The dude literally off his feet went flying. And we all just started to proceed to stomp on him. We run up on him and shit. This is the day when one of our homeboys that we looked up to came back from Mexico City and shit, right? And who was pretty much the leader, the unsaid leader of our hood back in the days, which was Mondo, Little Man. And just proceeded to stomp him out. You know what I'm saying? And so we go take off. And as we take off, we go to McLaughlin because the homeboy lived right there on McLaughlin by Montalvan. That's how we knew Chemo and Weddle and all those cats from Montalvan because they used to come through and kick it. Homeboy Chemo used to kick with my homeboy Mondo. And so I guess those dudes went with their older brothers back to the hood and they got pulled over and he told this officer named Toffee, who was a gang task force. Anybody from Milpitas remembers Officer Toffee. He gave him the whole rundown of what happened. Next thing you know, 2 of our people had warrants and they got arrested. One on the ranch. So homeboy's walking through and we ain't tripping off these cats no more, but there's these new youngsters. And see, for a minute, these youngsters were seen wearing Milpas hats and we told them to take off the fucking hat. They ain't from Milpas. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, they're wearing ESN hats, right? Eastside Norteños. Next thing you know, they get in VMC. So they live right there off of Temple and Calaveras. And what's funny thing now is across the streets where all the Sureños are now in Milpitas. But back then there was none. So homeboy used to live there and he's coming walking. And next thing you know, fucking, he starts talking to these dudes and he goes, man, you know, and there's some other cats from this hood called, I want to say LNV. I remember the dude Wacko, he passed away. And, you know, interesting story about Wacko. I ran into him at the fair, and that's when the fair had the whole fair fucking ready to jump me. So, when he was there, fucking homeboy Rascal was with the homeboy fucking, I think Sapo or Sammy Cyclone from VNH, by the Norte Homeboys. One of them, I forgot which one. And he said, well, he told these dudes, well, your boy's a fucking snitch. And these dudes decided to back up their homeboy. And later on, these homeboys got yelled at for doing so, but this is what kicked off the fuck with these cats again. So next you know, it's kicking off now. They try to jump my homeboy. Every time my homeboy go by there, they try to rush him. So he calls me. This is where BMN got involved. I tell Ozen, it's me, Ozen, fucking Beto, fucking a whole bunch of cats from BMN, man. I remember Ozen, Smokey, Beto. You know, Beto's now from 18th Street. Who else was there? There was about 10 of us. So Mikey was an interesting story. He was from VCT, believe it or not, Vado Colono 13 originally, but moved to Milpitas. His family were all Sureños, and they were cooks. They were like major fucking ballers, man. Anybody remembers this? Mikey's family had it. I mean, they were cooking it. And Mikey started, you know, fucking around with the young homeboys from BMN when he was like 14. And so, but when he was 11, he got into VCT. But he pretty much stopped kicking with the Sureños and started kicking with the homeboys from BMN. He was there. He was ready to rock with us because he was having issues with these cats. So there's about 8 of us. I remember Weddle from VNH and I think Sapo from VNH. 2 dudes from VNH came too. So we told fucking Rascal to go over there and let them talk shit, right? Because they had a dad that was supposed to be some veterano and shit over there, right? So homeboy goes over there like, hey, you have a lot of balls, woo, 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 right? The oldest G, right? So they start trying to rush homeboy, and next thing you know, homeboy whistles, and we just came out of nowhere. This is like about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the homeboy Ruben, who always taps in, it was his mom who was driving us in a van. His mom worked for San Jose Police Department, believe it or not. I shit you not. She works for the SJPD, and she gave us a ride. And so we came out of nowhere. All those dudes that were ready to rush homeboy backed on up. You know what I'm saying? I was about to bust the window. I will not forget this. And when I looked inside there, I seen a baby in the car. The dude actually left his fucking baby outside in the fucking car. I'm like, oh, fuck, stop, don't touch the car. Homeboy rushed the pad. We just started fucking rushing the pad. They didn't come out. That's how the issue started to fucking proceed. And it was like a cat and mouse game, man. And we'd run into them in the east side of San Jose, like on King Road. And a couple times they ran from us out there, right? Now, it's getting crazy on the streets. Like I said, there's a couple shootings, you know what I'm saying, that happened. I mean, I don't know. I was involved in a lot of shootings, man. There's about 7 of them that I remember personally pretty well. And there's a couple other ones that someone reminded me of I forgot all about. But I was getting into it, man. My car got shot up. You know what I'm saying? I shot a couple fools out there. We had random parties, fights, stabbings. You know, we get off with whoever. You know what I'm saying? And so we had a thing that homeboy Mondo used to teach us when we were younger, right? And that was that if there's fucking 7 of us and we see 2 of you and you're the one that you're the hood that we want to get, we're gonna rush you with our 7. But if there's 2 of us and there's 5 of you, 10 of you, we're still gonna rush you. And that's how it had to be. The one time it was acceptable to ever run in battle was if a gun was pulled. If not, if you fucking ran, they'd rather you get your ass beat and show that you didn't fucking punk out or anything than fucking run. And other cats would run from us, but we wouldn't run. So I was driving one day and I seen this chick named Valerie. She's the one that got killed over there in I think they found her body in about around 2011, right? In the east side. I used to go out with her. And we seen her and her homegirl and shit, right? Homegirl Stephanie, whose dad was a fucking wood from prison, that she used to go fucking pick guns for me and give them to me, right? And so I used to be with Valerie. She goes, okay. She goes, well, VNC, KNR, they're all right there. Because this is right there on Calaveras on Calaveras, right by the Cal Hills, well, the first apartment complex. I'm like, oh, fuck them fools. And so they come out. Next thing you know, there's like about 8 or 10 of them, and we're doing this fucking Levos, fuck this. And we're like doing our gang signs and shit, right? And we take off. And I tell homeboy, I go, man, we're not supposed to do that, bro. I go, we're going back. So I make a left on fucking Park Victoria, come down Gadsden, hit Carnegie, and Carnegie goes right into where they're at to the left. So I drive up all fucking crazy and shit, right? Homeboy fucking has a red bun on his head, shirt off, and he's like, fuck it, let's go. I stop the fucking car. He jumps out the car. See, I'm smart. I knew that we were outnumbered. I popped the trunk, right? Homeboy runs up. He hits the first dude. Then he tries to get the second dude and he gets dropped. And by then, I fucking had popped the trunk and I grabbed a fucking a pad and shit that I used to use to fucking wash the car. So next you know, I'm fucking just fucking swinging at these dudes and shit, but I'm not really like, I'm engaging but not engaging. You know, I'm saving faces what I'm doing and shit. So we were like, we leave, boom. And we're like, fuck this, man. I'm like, all right. Now we've been drinking all day. All fucking day. And like, you know, I think like during this period, every day would be a fight or a shootout. Every fucking day. No lie. Whether it was in San Jose, fucking Milpitas, Gilroy, wherever we were at, there was something always going on, man. I'm like, well, fuck this. We're going to go back. We're going to shoot these motherfuckers' house up. We're going to shoot that spot up. And we had just came up on a Mossberg from a police officer's house that we robbed. And so we went and got a couple of the homeboys from BMN, 2 of them, went up, rolled up. At first, we were going to shoot up at the fucking pad right there. Broad daylight. The cops were there for the incident. They were watching. So when we went down the street to where these people lived, right, on Adams, right, I guess the homeboy's house, right, that the homeboy that we had been getting problems with, right, we'd rushed him a couple times. I beat his ass out there in the streets, everything, right, which was Chris Pagan, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and I ran into him later on, you know what I mean? But I remember when I caught him on Calaveras with his cousin, I socked him and he fucking hit him once and then he fucking started running from me. They were doing a lot of things. Their mom and dad were taking their kids to rush the younger homeboys from being men and all this kind of shit, right? So they seen us. And so as we're proceeding, they turn around and they're behind us as we're shooting their fucking house up like around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We take off, we go bury the guns on Old Calaveras Road, and then we go to the homegirl Selena's house. And then I drop off a couple people. Homeboy Ozen's there also, right? He goes, man, I want to go. And we get fucking, we take off and shit. I'm like, man, I got to go to my house. This was in my mom's car that we did the shooting. So as I'm going to my house, there's cops everywhere, like waiting for me. Like you can see cops here. I go, oh, fuck, they're going to get me, man. I'm like, fuck it. Let's go, Ozen. We go down fucking Glacier Drive. We come around to Acadia, and I swear to God, my mom was a realtor at the time, and she was selling the house because I was getting into it so fucking much in the neighborhood. It was so bad over there. I mean, like there's times they came to my house and broke my fucking car windows, fucking tried to spray paint in front of the house, all kinds of shit, right? And neighbors used to hate me, you know. I even went one time and I took the fucking. we'd been painting the house, and I took the fucking paint, I took the paintbrush, and I was tagging all over the area. And it was funny because the graffiti was the same fucking paint. The fucking tagging was the same fucking tagging as fucking our house that we just painted and shit, man. Some fucking neighbors knew it was me, man. So, as I look like the dude from You ever watch those guys on Cops where they come in, they're like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? That was me at 18 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, what are you guys doing here? They came at gunpoint like this. They made me and my mom back up, all of us back up and shit, get on the fucking floor, handcuff me, handcuff my mom, handcuff the homeboys. I felt so bad that they did my mom like that, man. You know? And that's how I caught my case. That's exactly how I caught my case in 1996. You know, it was I was already facing one case that I was out on, and it was a wild year. You know what I'm saying? This is what led to me going to prison, though. Red on red, set tripping out there, gang banging, putting in work. That's just how the life was back at that time, man. Anyways, I guess it's kind of like part 3 of my story, but this is more circles around how I caught my case. And see, in 1996, there was so much shit. It was all about fucking gangbanging, partying, pulling females, cruising. That was the lifestyle, man. I mean, every time I come on here, I think of different incidents that occurred. You know what I'm saying? Because so much shit happened, man. There's some stuff I just can flat out remember. You know, like shooting at the Filipino Crips on Calaveras. And, you know, I shot 2 Sudanos right there on Dempsey Road. And, you know what I'm saying? You know, but there was a lot of stuff going on at that time, man. And San Jose was cracking. And everywhere was cracking. I mean, gangbanging had probably hit between 93 and 97 was probably, it hit its peak of gangbanging out there in San Jose. Maybe even 92 as well. 92, I think, as well. 1990, 97. And it was different when I got out. But this is what led me to my first prison case, man. You know, I'm lucky because I got away with a lot of shit at that time, a lot of shootings. And I was only out probably for about maybe 4 or 5 months. And all this shit happened around that time frame. You know, we had everything cracking. And we were going at it with almost everybody. And I had been the one that pulled BMN to be tied in with VMLs at that time. Because a few of them were even going to get jumped in VMLs. But I said, nah, let's just keep this generational. You know what I'm saying? And originally it was going to go VMLs, BMN, VMLs, BMN, but we were going to do generations like that, man. But we figured since we were the ones that started the Meteros, we started all that shit, and BMN followed our suit, we would just keep our hood one generation. And then it would be BMN from then on out. Anyways, part 3, story, more about the county jail. Hope you guys have a good one. I'm gone.